about CE5 and extraterrestrial contact, download my new book, now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple, and 14 other platforms. Book authored by Donald Ledesma. CE5, Frequencies of Contact.
Join your fellow starseeds, lightworkers, and experiencers at the 2024 Full Disclosure Now Conference, this July 15th to 18th. This conference will be a fun and positively life-changing experience for so many. In addition to 4 days and nights of presentations, there will be special event dinners, dancing, fun time on the beach, UFO night watch tours, film screenings, vendors, and more at the lovely Serrata Beach Resort on St. Pete Beach, Florida. Over 34 Montauk Project survivors, Secret Space Program whistleblowers, ET contactees, and psychic healers will be presenting in the name of the Full Disclosure Movement. The truth must be revealed if we're all to achieve our Star Trek future here and now. Get your event passes and book your stay now at fulldisclosuremovement.org.
And Major Hector Quintanilla is now the chief of Project Blue Book. Major Quintanilla, what are the objectives of Project Blue Book?
As I'm standing there, I kind of, it's a very hard feeling to describe. Skinny arms, skinny legs, but I could only see about half of this thing.
It was just an eye-opening experience. There was a ship coming over the house.
It was like a white light sort of thing that we saw. It was coming out of a cloud.
Hi, I'm Heather McLaren, ESTP ufologist from Scotland, and you're watching In the Strand podcast with Donald Ledesma.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Alien Strand Podcast here on Rumble. Actually, we are on Facebook, on my personal Facebook page, and I believe YouTube and X, on Twitch as well. So, hey, guys, thank you for listening to today's show. It's going to be a short one, not very long. But, I want to just talk a little bit about, I had a podcast last night from with some folks out of Canada and I think they're both out of Canada. So, it's called a Tainted Tea Podcast. And you need to go and check them out on their YouTube channel. And these guys, they saw my film and were able to, get a lot out of it, a lot out of the film because, the brand new film, The Middle Part 2, which just released on Amazon Prime. So I hope you guys are go check this out, and if you do, give us a review on it if you can, if possible, right? That's all we're asking. Give us a review and give us a thumbs up on it, because it seemed after they watched the film that it ended up, they grasped it a little bit better because they said, "Hey, man, we just noticed that it resonated with us somewhat. I did experience some stuff like that." And I was like, "Oh, really?" And they're like, "Yeah, man. It's like your film touched touched base, right, for them, and they were able to really enjoy the film, and they said, man, I really love that film, and they said, I wish more people could watch it. And I was like, well, maybe you should, pass it on to other folks. It's not for everybody. It's for folks that have actually had, visitations, things like that, the same kind of stature of extraterrestrials, crafts, things like that, right? And that's what this film is to point across to, right? Is to get everybody that's seen something like this kind of involved in like what it is, right? Of what they saw and what they experienced. And that film, it does a lot to explain it, right? With Ryan Keaton and Mr. Robert Bro. Terry Lynch is in it as well. And it just dropped on Amazon Prime, and I was just so excited when it did. It took 6 weeks, almost 7 weeks for by the time I uploaded it for them to get it right. And oh, thank you. This said I liked it. I can barely see it. My glasses, I can read, but it's up there. You guys' comments are coming through. I can see them coming through at the very top right. I appreciate that. It's I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. We're trying to push disclosure. It's not about just the film, and it's not. A lot of people think, oh, you're just trying to be a millionaire or make money. No, man, it's about the disclosure. That's what it's about. It's about the freaking disclosure. We want people to understand what they're witnessing up in the skies, and like I said, maybe I'm onto something. Maybe I am, because it seems to be touching base with a lot of folks, right? As far as after witnessing things like that, um they have some kind of like paranormal things that are happening to them at the same time, right? And I, and that's what that film does to people, right? And then right after that film, in about maybe 2 months from now, we're gonna have the middle part three, which is gonna be coming out soon as well. Right after that, that's gonna have three more people in that film. And then on the last film, it's gonna have just about everybody, and then two more other people, and they're gonna be able to tell more of their stories, right? Because that's what it's about. It's about that, right? About the disclosure, because that's what it is, right? And I just hope that everybody is getting a lot out of it. And I call this para, because we don't know if it's extraterrestrial, interdimensional, or actually a ghost or something like that, right? Because it seems to mimic that sort of style of entity, right? And and it sometimes it starts from the very beginning, right? It starts like when our first movie, the middle part one, came out. When that one came out, it we started going into the geoglyphs, catching these aliens that were sitting back to back on side of a mountain, and we were able to see that people were noticing these things. And then I showed the crafts, how they worked in there. But then after a while, things started happening to people, after they witnessed these crafts, right? So this is what they tried to the story starts unfolding, because sometimes it happens the next day, sometimes it takes about a week. You start seeing shadow figures, things move around the house, right? While these things are going, man. And I just hope that everybody's getting a lot out of these films, and just to try to just to try to relate to it, right? So, Jaja, watching with you, thank you. Great film. David Nash, I liked it. I appreciate you. And it's one of those things. We're just trying to get the disclosure out there, right? If you like what I'm doing today, this is the new Rumble that I'm using. Bear with me. I'm still dealing with the technical part of it, but I just want to get the point across. As a matter of fact, after I did that podcast I did with him for about an hour and 15 minutes or so, but that podcast I did with him will be out on Monday, right? So it's called the Tainted Tea Podcast. They were really stoked to have me on their podcast, and I love doing podcasts with other people, right? So if you know anybody that wants a podcast, that wants a guest, I'll be glad to be. I don't care if they got 10 followers, I don't care if they got 10,000. I'm about the disclosure to get it out there, right? And I do have a couple of videos to show today. I'm not just gonna ramble and y'all gonna see this beautiful face right here. You're not just gonna see this, man. Yeah, I know, right? So And I just want you guys to know that there's orbs involved in a lot of things that people see, right? Actually, on my last film, it's gonna be the middle four, right? And we have a beautiful person. Her name is Jody Gordon, right? I mean Jody Brown, and she has dealt with these orbs. Like, I have videos of her of these orbs, like literally right in front of her while she's standing there, maybe 2 3 feet away from her. And I've talked about this before in a couple of past podcasts, right? And it's a it's after that unfolded for her, and she was dealing with that. They're up there in Sedona, Arizona, I believe. um so um after dealing with that, she started experiencing some health issues, right? And this is what we try to tell folks, that be careful of being in front of these things, because they do have a lot of electronic magnetic energy that's coming out. We don't know if it's radioactive. We don't know anything what it is, right? So, hey Corey, she's watching. David Nash. Let's see, any positive towards awareness. Yeah, great job. Keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate you, brother. It's just we're trying to explain that these orbs that people see up in the sky, a lot of times they do have this energy that we don't know what it is, right? And on the film, hi Corey. So there's a lot of things out there that you see that people experience later, right? It starts to affect them health wise, right? And that's the scary part about being so close to these orbs. And I'm going to show you a couple of videos of orbs, so that way, even if you've seen them before, I want to show them again because I want it to coincide of what I'm talking about here, right? And of course, I'm going to show the one of I believe it's Juanito Juan. I'm not sure. Let me see if I'll pull it out. And this is the one that's right above his house. He's talking in Spanish, and he's been getting really close to these orbs, right? And ever since I've been watching his stuff, of course, he's come out on Masan and all those Mexican UFO ufologist channels out there, and he's been, getting himself recognized. But the only thing that I'm trying to freak out is like, what if he's getting ill? So that's the thing that I'm trying to say here, right? Like sick health wise. And this is the scary part about it. So let me show you this video real quick, and then we'll see what you guys think of this, right?
Vean eso. Para los que dicen que no hay videos, vean, estoy afuera de mi casa y vean, hay un objeto ahí. Vean, es una luz. Vean eso, mi gente. Vean eso. Es una luz que está parpadeando, vean eso. Es increíble, mi gente. Está justo arriba. Está justo arriba de mi casa, vean eso. Vean eso.
All right, so you see what I'm getting at here. This is how close these things are. This is actually one of many that has approached this guy up in Mexico, right? And he's watching. Hey, how you doing, George? Heather, hey, how you doing? Thank you for watching here today. So, it's and we are live on Rumble. We're live on X, YouTube, here on Facebook for now. I just want to show you exactly what's happening to these folks, right? While they're seeing these UFOs, these orbs, right? And he's catching these things as close as possible, right? There's one that actually comes up to him and he actually touches it, right? It looks like a silver ball that's floating, and it's got like a blue light. I wish I had it. I was looking for it, but I was running out of time to get this podcast out. But what I'm trying to say is that we mix the ufology with paranormal as well too, right? So I wonder, I really love to. I wish, I don't know if the guy speaks English or not. I speak Spanish, but I'm kind of I can get by. Put it to you that way, right? I don't speak fluently, but I'd love to interview him to see how he's feeling, like health wise, because, or if he's seen shadow figures, any kind of things that are moving, that like knives or anything that's coming out of his closets, anything like that. While he's been experiencing this for, I guess, a year now. I've noticed that. and he's got a very popular page called Juanito Juan there on Facebook. Go follow him. You're gonna see a lot of good stuff there, man. A lot of good stuff. Um, yeah, thank you. Glad you dropped by. Let's see. Don saying that the orb video looks exactly like what I captured in the Superstition Mountains. Huh? Where's that at? I'd like to know where that's at. So it's crazy that these things happen to people on a daily basis. But I just like to know exactly what's happening to them behind the things we're not seeing, like the video. We're not seeing what happens to them on a daily life, right? Like I was talking about my friend Jody Brown. I keep touch with her just to make sure how she's doing, things like that because of her health. But and that's the scary part about being so close to these things. I'm going to show you another video here real quick, because I want you to yeah, I should. My Jaja says you should send him a message. Yeah, I think I'm going to send him a message. If I can get around the half English, half Spanish, I can probably translate it a little bit, for you guys. So, but there is captions. I'm noticing there's captions here at the bottom. So if you guys are watching, there is captions there, so you'll be able to kind of make out what he's saying. Hopefully, it'll translate. It might. Now with AI, that's a scary thing, man. But that's a different subject. But it seems to be like, is it me, or does it seem like every time I open my Google Chrome, right, or whatever you're using, I don't care, Microsoft, I don't care whatever the hell you're using. I use app, Macs, right? But every time I open it, oh, we've made an update. AI is here. AI is there. AI is figuring out this, and I'm like, I don't know if I want AI to do all that stuff for me. It's making me lazy, man. You know what I'm saying? But and then it kind of, have you ever had this? Like you're thinking about something, maybe buying something, and then it freaking pops up on your screen. Man, I tell you, man, these things are like they're stuck there. But anyway, I'm gonna show you this next video. I'm gonna show this next video. Right. And I want you to see this because it's another orb that somebody caught. A friend of ours, actually. Hopefully she's watching right now. Hey, Marisol, how you doing? She started watching. So, and you guys can chat because you can see it pop up on screen. This is from different platforms. So you can see everybody that's watching on different platforms on this chat. You're watching them on screen. And that's amazing, man. I'm glad I'm using this platform instead of the other. But let me show you this video real quick. All right. I believe this is in Spanish too. So let's go ahead and just check this out. All right, so that's about 2 minutes long, that whole video. So that's from Lyra Smith, I believe. So yeah, she has caught a lot of stuff, man, on her videos and stuff. So I see her; she's like an administrator on different groups. Check her out. Go to her page on Facebook, and this is one that she caught, man, out there. Anthony, hey, what's up, my brother? Rodney Thomas is watching. Hey, congratulations, man! I forgot to tell you that he just got married. Congratulations, brother. I'm so happy for you. I'm glad that you got married, brother. And then let's see. Marisol, it's like they want us to see. Exactly. So that's what these orbs are just coming out, right? And people are catching them every day. And we just don't understand if it's after that, if it's a paranormal thing or what, right? And how do we tell the difference of exactly what's, ufology and the paranormal side of it, right? How do we know, right? We don't really. We don't, because unless you can jump into that dimension and see what's going on and then jump back and see and then tape it for us. I'd really like to see that, right? unfortunately, you can't, right? I don't know anybody that has, right? So, hey, you're welcome, my brother. So, it's one of those things that we have to figure out if this is a paranormal thing, right? A lot of times you'll catch, if you get your phones, right? I have myself playing in the background. Anyway, so if you have your phones, you use electronic magnetic field meters. You can use all that stuff, those ghost trackers, things like that. Now, can these extraterrestrials uh, manifest themselves into a different entity of some sort, right? I did have a podcast in the past of if these are my personal thoughts, right? I'm just giving you my opinions. This isn't that's setting concrete anything else. But I did one on like Enoch and stuff like that. But and I had the difference between what I thought was, there's God, there's good, there's evil, and then there's these things, right? Like a totally different thing, right? And it's because it's hard to define exactly if these things are demons. Are there, are there good ones? I know there's good ones out there. Don't get me wrong. I know there is. There's some out there that won't harm you, that they'll just want good things, and like the Octurians, the Palladians, things like that. Right? I get it. I know those are. But the problem I have only with those, and these are my opinions, my thoughts, is that I wish that we had more pictures of them, right? The human-looking ones, instead of and maybe one of them giving us a video. Hey, this is where I'm from. Here, let me show a video where I'm up. That's what I talked about. I had a podcast yesterday called Ufology, right? Because I wanted people to understand that Joe Rogan, I love him. I love his podcast. But when he hears people say they're ufologists, he kind of like, it's not concrete. It's not. I don't think anything of it, right? When I first started following him, I talked about this the other day. He believed when he first started podcasting about extraterrestrials, he thought only 50%, right, was actual extraterrestrial. This was in the past. Now he's had all these people, Bob Lazar, all these Graver, all these people, right, that have been on his podcast talk about extraterrestrials. Almost everybody that goes on his podcast, he talks about extraterrestrials, right? So they asked me the other day, how much do you believe? He goes, he's smoking his what? He said, hey, I think I'm about 100% that he believes that these things are real. Okay, bam, there we go. So there goes the ufology of ufologists. There is no university where you're going to learn this. There's nothing like that. There is no, books, criteria, anything like that that's going to give you, hey, I got my certificate. There is none of that. Because you know why? This is the main reason. There is no concrete. We don't have the concrete evidence in our hands, right? Scientists, doctors, when scientists, they do these experiments, they have the concrete evidence. They can experiment with things in their hands, right? Magnets, coils, they have manometers and electrometers and whatever barometers. They have them, right? Even if you're a doctor, right? What are you going to do? You're going to be a doctor. You have to go and work on a cadaver. That is part of being a doctor. You have to see a dead body and work on it. That's physical evidence, right? They go to school, they get their certificate for it. This is why there's a curriculum for it. There is not a curriculum for ufology. So, and this is why we get the stigmas of what we get, right? The tinfoil hats, here we go, right? And I'm bringing it back to this is because, these orbs and these videos, these are our physical things that we have because you are the ones that are presenting it to everyone around the world, right? So how do we present this into science and everything like that for them to understand, accept ufology and accept who we are as ufologists, citizen ufologists. We are citizen ufologists right now. There is no bachelor, master, and there's a doctor, Dr. Donald Disma, and you're a master ufologist. No, I can't say that, right? Because it's not the truth. We don't have the concrete, schooling, things like that, curriculums. You can make one all day long. You can make one online. Anybody can do that, but there's nobody going to accept it, right? And the reason I'm talking about that because the concrete evidence that we need is what the paranormal factor comes in, right? How do you know if it's a ghost? How do you test a ghost, right? Really? I mean, how do you test these UFOs by our photos and videos and things like that? Implants. It's great. That's a great George Heather. She says or he did implants, right? They had them, right? Dr. Lear had those little implants, knowing that they came from somewhere else. They were not made here, right? And that's great concrete evidence. And we can probably, factor in on working on implants, but that's all we have. We don't have a craft. We don't have something that people can actually work on, right? Heather, I'm sorry. So we can do that. And if we had all that, it'd give us more to work on, right? So I just showed you that second video of that of Lyra, right? Of her orb that she got that was right by her home. You could tell it was like on top of a mountain. And then there was another orb that came out of the very bottom. And like they say, the energy, yeah, it takes up a round shape. And I did show photos on one of my past podcasts of photos of an orb. And when they zoomed into it, it looked just like a little alien's face that was inside that thing, right? And then there was another one where they took a picture of a star. It looks just like a face. What does that, right? How does it do that? And it manifests that way. So how do we know if it's paranormal? And how do we know exactly what it is? Right? So I don't know. It's just kind of hard to figure these things out. And that's what these movies are about. The middle part two that just came out on Amazon Prime. I hope you guys go watch it, man. I'm not just trying to sell myself or anything. I just people need this kind of disclosure because it's telling you the stories of what these folks are going through, right? And you really have to, understand. And like those people last night that I had a meeting with, they told me, "Hey, man, after I saw that movie, I had so many questions to ask you, right?" And the other guy's name's Donald as well. So we and him were talking. He was asking me a bunch of questions. His whole family saw it. His family was asking me questions last night on the podcast. They were so pulled into that film that because it resonated with them, right? Resonated with them. It touched them somehow because they've experienced that as well. And that's the hard part about trying to figure these things out exactly what they are, right? Right? Paranormal, right? So I'm going to show this other video. This is going to be an actual UFO. It's in Mexico, so they're going to be talking Spanish. If you guys are Mexicanos out there, if you're out there and you can understand what they're saying, check it out. I'm going to put it on right now, and let's see. Here we go. I'm going to put it on.
Gente, o que é esse céu aqui do céu de Guarabara? Que estranho. Gente, o que é isso?
All right, so we all know that was a UFO, right? Yeah, I mean, somebody wrote a real long one. It's kind of hard for me to read, but I think it might be from a different, probably a different thing, their social media. But you saw what they were seeing, and it kind of zoomed in into that craft what they were seeing, right? That was crazy how close these things are starting to get now, right? And how do we tell exactly what we're looking at? And that's what these podcasts are for. I don't care if you're watching me or you're watching, Joe Rogan, you're watching all these other different podcasts. Everybody has a way of telling the story, right? And if we present the evidence as we're presenting it today, then we get more disclosure as citizen ufologists, right? Because that's what we call ourselves. My sister Zaja, she says the dogs are always barking, right? Right. And we've talked about that 40 hertz or something like that, that when that's such a low tone, it's like a real low tone. It's almost inaudible to us, but dogs can hear that. And when I put it on one of my podcasts last, it actually it made that sound and my dogs went nuts while I was playing it through my headphones, mind you. They were hearing it through my headphones. So if that just means that we're a little bit closer to knowing what frequency that these crafts are making while they're hovering in these designated areas, not designated, but wherever areas that they are at, right? And these people are catching, right? It's I don't understand, how we are going to put that together, as far as paranormal and extraterrestrials, ufology, uh, and just trying to figure out if they coexist within the same dimension, or do these things walk around amongst us in a kind of cloaked way to where we can't see them, and they can just kind of walk around, like mirrored. Like Bob Lazar said, he goes, on that Element 115, when he saw that one test of that one UFO that hovered, he said only hovered like 5 or 10 feet above them, while there was a guy inside, a soldier that was inside that was controlling it. He said when you look underneath it, you couldn't see the craft. You couldn't see it because of the frequency that was going all the way around this craft, right? It made like an invisible layer to where it blended in with the scenery around you, like clouds and the ground. You couldn't tell it was there, but it was there, right? He said only when you looked underneath it, but when it came down, you could see what it was, right? And that was that Element 115 that they used it in that craft, right? That he was talking about. And how do we know these things don't walk around? I'm not saying that these things have Element 115 on them. I don't know if they have that kind of, but these things they have enough. How can I say this? They are past us, way past us, to where they can uh, go into different dimensions, right? Walk amongst us every day, right? And then show themselves, and then you can't see them again, right? How do we know if these are things are going to be paranormal or these are extraterrestrial? I don't know. These are the things that I ask myself and I ask everybody every day, because we have to figure it out. Amy says it's like a force field. Yeah, it's possibly. How do we figure these out? I know we have dreams of these extraterrestrials sometimes. Sometimes people do see them on their beds, right? They see them uh kind of looking over them. Yeah, that's kind of spooky. You know what I mean? I haven't had that happen to me before, never in my life, and if it has, I didn't see it, right? The only thing I remember is when I was little young, when I was, I don't know, maybe 7 years old. My sisters we were all kids. We also sleep in the same room in the same bed, not same bed, but I had, I was just like I was sleeping between them. And one night, my sister woke up. Both of them woke up, and they looked over my head, and there was a ghost floating over me of an old man that died inside of our house, right? And they told me that story over and over. I never saw it. They saw it, and they were both like in shock, seeing this ghost of this old man on top of me, right? You know, and we're kids, back then, and that was a ghost, right? But how do we know the difference between that and an extraterrestrial? That's the hard part, man. That's where we all need to put our heads together and figure these things out. And I hope we do. I really do, man. It just it kind of sucks that we're just not there yet. And if we can just get more concrete evidence, like I said, the implants, I believe Linda Howe has a piece of a ship that somebody gave her, and she had it tested, and it had layers and layers and layers on top of layers, almost like what we do with 3D printing, like a 3D printer does, but this was made of metal, different elements, metals that there was one element that we didn't have here, that it's only like in space or something, that was on that small shard of metal that she had. So we need this concrete evidence, right? In order to show people more disclosure. And I hope you guys are watching these films, on YouTube, or, wherever they're at, Amazon Prime. I have them there. And because they're eye-opening experiences for everybody. And I just wanted to get this out to you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. I hope I I hope I entertained you. Are you not entertained? I'm entertained. No, I really love doing this. I please catch me more here on Rumble. Follow me on Rumble as well, because I might not do too many here on Facebook. I know a lot of you guys are watching on Facebook. I appreciate you guys. And it's just one of those things, man. It's like I don't I'm just hoping they just stop flagging me, man. Stop flagging me. It's getting old. But anyway, I just hope you guys are just kind of hanging out there, and enjoying a lot of these podcasts. Hopefully we can get more disclosure out there. Part 3 will be out soon, here in about a couple of months. John Dickinson, there he is, my brother. Man, I haven't seen you in a while. Wow. Thank you for being here, watching today, man. I really appreciate you, my brother. David Nash, yep. He says there are aliens or earthbound, and that's the big question. Are they underground, or are they underwater inhabitants, or are they right? You know what? They don't talk about USOs too much, but I've seen a lot of video of that, these underground submersible objects, right? Underwater. And on my part 2, there's an actual entity in the water glowing. I guess there was a craft below him, and he's swimming on top of the craft. You have to watch this movie. Um, and I don't know if you guys noticed it, but remember when if you go to your Google Earth, go to your Google Earth, and if you have Google Earth Pro, do the satellite imagery. I live down here in South Texas, right? So down at the South Texas and the Gulf of Mexico, there's a little curve, right? And it goes all the way down to like Mexico. And when you used to zoom in, like around that area down in Mexico, you used to see right on the edge of the Gulf, there was like pillars, looked like an underground cave that went in there, right? You know what just happened about 2 weeks ago? They blurred it out. Google, you can't see it no more. You can't see those pillars. It looks like Roman pillars or some kind of pillars to go into an underwater cave going into Mexico from under the water, under the ocean, right? You can't see it no more. They sprayed it out like NASA does, right? Never any straight answers. And why did they do that? They don't want you to see something, right? Or they don't want people going there. That's my thing. You know how it is. People find something on Google. They go and check it out now these days. Everybody's an explorer. Everybody's a Dora the Explorer. I'm going out there and I'm going to go check this out, right? And that's great. I think people should. But why they blurred that part out, sprayed it out of our Google Earth, the satellite imagery, you can't see it no more. I've seen it a couple of times, right? I don't get it. I don't get why they do that. To me, it's just shady, brother and sisters out there. It's shady as hell. I don't care what you say. It's shady, like fake book, shady. So it's we need to figure out exactly how to get more disclosure out there. I talked about it on my podcast last. I think David Aliff heard it a little while ago. He heard my podcast from yesterday. He's like, dude, that was a great podcast. I talked about how back in the days in the 40s and the 50s that people, who's the first person they called when they saw a UFO, right? You call your local sheriff. Man, I got to call this guy. We just saw something. Back then they didn't have cell phones. They barely had a camera in their car. Even if they did grab a picture, I hope they did. But anyway, they would call the local sheriff, right? And then if they didn't give any answers, that was like calling NASA. They'd say, you know what? Let's call the government. That's who they would call. Now, let me ask you, everybody that's watching right now, if you're going to see a UFO, who are you going to call? And not Ghostbusters either. Who are you going to call? Are you going to call the government? Huh? No. But this is how much people trusted them back then to do that. That's why they got, they got that guy out there to do the Project Blue Book, Alan Hynek. They got him because he was the fall guy. He was the fall guy, man. He was like, we're trying to get in the phone calls. You get the phone calls. Whatever you see, this is how much you're going to find. A lot of it's going to be real, but we don't want you to tell everybody because we don't want you to freak out. We don't want to freak out the public, right? That's the way it was back then. Now today, that crap ain't happening. You know what I'm saying? We ain't calling. We ain't calling. We ain't calling them. You know, you can call ASDP. You know, you can call us. ASDP-UFO.com. You can go report a UFO. You can call you MUFON too. They're great people. Go call them too, man. Report a UFO. Don't call Big Brother. You know why? Because they're gonna blur that crap out. I want to cuss so bad. But I'm keeping it PG-13, guys, all right? PG-13. That's just the way it is, right? Money says, I'm calling Terry and Donald Desmond. Yes, thank you. You know, it's crazy, man. You know, this is what ufology is about. This is the struggle, man. This is a freaking struggle we have to go through every day as citizen ufologists that we don't have a certificate for, that we have to fight. It's an uphill battle. People, I'm telling you, it's an uphill battle. And we need to stick together, stand together, follow podcasts like this one, follow other great podcasts that are out there, man, that give out this information and stick with the program. You know, off the Bitcoin guy is he came out yesterday for selling 10,000 Bitcoins. I'm waiting on that one. It's not in my email yet, brother. Send me some 10,000 Bitcoins that you're supposed to send it for free. Yeah, right. Anyway, but what I'm trying to say is, like, how do we get that figured out? You know, we just got to stick together and work together. That's what we're about, right? And yeah, it says sometimes MUFON is stupid. Yeah, it can be. It can be. You know, we all do dumb things sometimes, right? And sometimes not everything's going to be correct, right? Not even I'm going to be correct all the time. There's going to be people. Hey, man, you said that wrong. It's penal. Penal. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm sorry. me and Terry Lynch were doing a podcast, and somebody said that, and I'm like, I guess we were saying it wrong, bro. But yeah, the gland. We're talking about the gland here. Your third eye, man. That's the one gets you going. All right. So, you know, hey, have any of you guys ever tried DMT by any chance? If you have, give me a thumbs up, you know, or just say yes or no. I want to know how many people, what's the ratio of people that have done DMT? If you don't know what that is, it's that little freaking chemical that our brains produce, like milli 1,000ths of a cell that our brains produce. Now you can get you can put that in a I don't know, a pot cigarette, or you can smoke it on your vape or something. You take one hit of that thing, and they say people that do that, it's called almost like seeing God, right? Seeing the universe as it is, that everything starts unfolding in front of them. Like you're seeing like little aliens walking around and stuff, but it only lasts for about 10-15 minutes, I believe. But dimethyltryptamine, yeah, that's it. That's the one, man. That one right there, it puts you in a trip beyond a trip. But they say when people do that, when they come back from that they end up getting like an awakening moment in their life. So they're like, oh crap. That's what it's all about. In other words, who you are, right? And what we are is energy. You get to see it all. Right. In other words, your brain goes into a full, you know, like when they in Star Wars, when they throttle forward and right, you took off. That's what happens to your brain in that 15 minutes or 10 minutes or however it lasts. Right. I don't think I'm gonna do. I don't think I'll ever do that. I probably won't. But you know, I just hear many stories of that stuff, man. And you know, I just want to know how many people have done it and if you have, do you want to do it again? That's the thing. Some people, they just don't want to do it. Kind of makes you, makes you throw up. When you drink real brew, then yeah. I don't know, man. It says like an acid trip. That's what Jaja is saying out there. You know, it's a possibility. It's a possible, you know, acid trip, but I think acid trip was more like an LSD. This thing was it's supposed to be something that your brain produces, and they can mimic that somehow. So, and they're able to put you in a different state of mind to where you're like freaking blown away. You know what I mean? Like you're in another universe, man. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's see. David Nash says, "Let's see for yourself for who you are." A lot of people regret that part of it. Yeah, I know. I'm not the drug kind of person or anything like that. Hey, I'll drink a beer, I'll smoke a cigarette, and that's about it. I'll take a shot of tequila. That's for sure. You know what's my favorite one? By any chance? Don Julio. Not just because it has Don in it. I just love Don Julio, the clear. Man, if you guys never had a shot of tequila, get that stuff. Don Julio. That's like the best stuff that I've ever had. Anyway, it's just so smooth. You don't even feel it. Drink it cold. Put it in your refrigerator, in your freezer. You know, that's when you're relaxing, sitting outside, just chilling. Take a shot. That's it. Just one shot. Put it away. That's it. So, I mean, it's when we're talking about the DMT, I just wanted to know who's done it out there. I know one person has done it, and they kind of like it. So, and they do it maybe once a month or once every 2 months, just to try to. But it puts them in a different state of mind afterwards, and maybe that's the tapping of what's in between of the spiritualism, right? The extraterrestrial part of it, because they say you're seeing these little alien workers. They almost look like aliens. They're little workers that are working. They're doing stuff, right? And hey, Shannon, she's out there watching. So it's like when they're doing that, that's what everybody says that they see, or they see like different colors and the universe, and they see like they're somewhere else, man. I mean, I don't know. I wish somebody could record that somehow. You know what? There used to be a movie back in the 70s or 80s, I think, yeah, 80s, with Christopher Walken. It was called Dreamscape, I think, something like that. They put this little thing on their head, and then whatever they would see would record it on the tape. Even they recorded somebody's death, right? In the film. This is in the movie. And it recorded everything what they saw afterwards, right? And that was the whole thing, the whole meaning of that film. Pretty great. It's a great film, by the way. Anyway, so I just wanted to get these messages across to you guys. Thank you for watching today on Rumble. Thank you for watching today on YouTube. We are live on X. We're live on Twitch as well. That's right. So, I hope you guys got a little information out of it. I love to joke around a lot. So if you follow me on my Facebook page, give me a thumbs up. Hey, everybody saying they love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Bam, 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 bam. I love you guys. It's got a lot out of this, and I'll have more like this, probably a different time. But I do have another podcast coming up with another podcaster. I'm going to be on their show, Dead Friend Redemption from England. I'll be on his show, not this Thursday. It was supposed to be today, but he had to cancel. So we're going to do it next Thursday. All right. Catch that one. Could be a great, great podcast, man. Dreamscape is just a great movie. Yeah, no apparatus to be someone's dream. That's awesome. Heather, have a good day. Thank you. You guys have yourselves a good day. It's one of those things, I hope you guys got a lot of information out of it. Don't forget my book, man. Go get it. Go get it. Go get it. See 5 Frequencies of Contact. Go check it out, man. On Amazon Prime, you can download it to your phone. $3.99. Kept everything cheap. The films out there. Go watch The Middle Part 2. Please go watch it. And please give me a thumbs up. If you've watched it on Amazon Prime, the film you've seen right there, man. Well, if you see it, give me a thumbs up after the film's over if you liked it, right? And if you have the Amazon Prime app on your phone, just go there and then you can write a review, man. Everything helps because it helps the disclosure. Anytime somebody puts a thumbs up or anything like that, it helps it get out more and get more disclosure to more people, right? And hopefully a lot of people that get to see this film get to understand exactly what it's about, right? And the experiences in there are real. Okay, for one, they're not scripted. Everything's real. There was no script. I just asked questions, and they told me their stories. I have hours and hours of footage of it, and I just want you guys to understand that if you do watch it over this weekend, man. It's Memorial Weekend. Hey, don't forget our soldiers, man. It's their weekend. Be sure to give all of them a shout out. If you're in the military, hey, if you're in the military or was in the military, hey, thank you for your service. I really appreciate you. People that we've lost as well. I just want to make sure that everybody connects with what this weekend is really about and how safe I want you guys to be out there. We're gonna be camping. We're going camping, man. you know, Look, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this real quick. I want to try to. So, have you guys ever go camping or glamping by any chance? We have an RV. We bought it last year. We went one time last year. We were gonna go during the winter time, but yada yada yada. Movies, filming, editing, podcasts, blah blah blah, work. Okay, so we decided to go here this weekend. That I in fact actually got a spot. All right. Now I live down here in Texas, mind you. I love Texas. I love the openness and everything like that. Just the things that you can do here that you can't do in other states. I get it. I get that part. And this is what I love about it. The more freedoms we have and stuff like that. Yeah. But to go to a park, it costs you just as much as to go to a freaking hotel now, right? I know they got to do maintenance and stuff like that, but it doesn't cost that much, man, to go camping. And then all these campsites, if you look right now, if you want to go down here to Texas, like let's say Garner, Lake Corpus Christi, Choke Canyon, Mustang Island out here, if you want to go to any of those places, if you're an RV camper person or whatever, you better make your appointments at least 3-4 months in advance. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's full. It's full. The only time you can go is like Monday to the Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays are open. Everything else, every weekend is full. All right. Just an FYI. And it's going to cost you some money. So when I was living in New Mexico, you know how much it cost me to go camping? $5, man. $5. And that's just for a little ticket that you just put and you don't even give it to nobody. You put it in one of their boxes that's on a campground. Right? Come on, Texas. Make it better for people, man. Let's get this a little bit cheaper and let's kind of figure this out a little bit better. There's so many people to come down here because it's hot. It's hot. I'm gonna tell you right now. Today, 92 degrees. Our heat index is 116. All right. I saw the devil walking around with an ice cream cone. That's how freaking hot it is outside. We have to bring in the dogs at 11, 12 o'clock. We bring them inside for 4 hours. And then in the afternoon, we let them go back outside and play. That's how hot it is, South Texas, man. But yeah, love the mountains. I'm going to go out there. We'll be out there in New Mexico here in a couple of weeks as well. We're going to go visit. But thank you guys for watching this podcast. I really appreciate you guys. I rambled enough. I hope you guys got a lot out of it. And, catch me on the next one. I'll throw a little flyer out before I get back on so you guys can see that I'll be on live, all right, as we are today. Until then, you guys have yourselves a good day. Have yourselves a good evening. And have yourselves a good night. We'll see you later, alligator.